Uh, Today we will talk about diction. So diction is the careful selection of words to communicate a message or establish a particular voice or writing style. Writers carefully choose their words and descriptions so that they can effectively convey to the readers what they imagined in their heads. It is the way writers convey their ideas and point of view and the way they tell their stories. So word choice can influence what the readers will imagine about the setting, the characters, and the events. If you want to become a good creative writer, you must master diction. If what you tell matters, how you tell it matters also. That's what diction is. It works together with syntax, which deals with the arrangement or structure of words in a sentence. So, for example, can you please give me my phone? Uh, Please transfer my phone to my hand. Throw my cell phone to me. If you don't hand over my phone now, this king will be hungry. So, another example. What? Hey, what's up, man? So, good day. How are you today? And he nods at his friends as they pass each other. Yo. So, here are some other specific examples. So, the following are writings about sunsets from different authors. George R. Martin, the author of Game of Thrones book, describes sunset this way: when the sun has set, no candle can replace it. What do you think is the tone of his description of sunset? Is it negative? Is it dark, or is it full of hope, or is it full of despair? So there's another one. J.K. Rowling in Harry Potter. She said, "Twilight fell, the sky turned to a light, dusky purpose littered with tiny silver stars." So here's another one. Izzy Hinton in Outsiders. She said, "Can you see the sunset real good on the west side? Then you can see it on the east side too." What's the tone does it have? What's the message does it tell you? As you see, diction is important, and proper choice of words to tell what you wanted to convey and emphasize the tone you want to emphasize are important in creative writing. That's why diction is important. Through diction, writers create a specific tone to support their purpose and to emphasize something. For example, different genres have different tones. Horror stories express words differently compared to action, romance, or comedy stories. Okay? Different authors also have different styles. The diction has a good contribution to the author's style. This is where the part when people say that they can feel a distinct writer's voice and they associate that voice with a particular author's. Okay? And this relates to a writer's voice style, which you can also develop with more experience in writing. So, would you write a morning scene differently if you want to convey danger, in contrast to if you want to convey a happy family Sunday? Right? Right? Right. So, the four purposes of diction. Setting a certain tone to support the purpose is the purpose of diction. The next purpose would be to support in describing the setting of the story. The setting is the location of the scene. It can include several the overall weather of the location, the time or era, such as the 18th century, and the specific locations, such as is it in a classroom, street, church, or somewhere else. So another purpose of diction would be to establish the narrative voice and the tone. As I said previously, horror novels will have a different tone in contrast to romance novels, fantasy novels, or children's book. So you can also use diction to create vivid, memorable, distinct characters, and that's another purpose of diction. So types of diction. Here are the 8 types of diction in writing. The first is the formal diction. As its name literally says, this diction is formal. It follows standard grammar and rules and standard spellings, and it may use complicated sentence structures. This is mostly used in academic settings, professional documents, business files, and legal papers. Slangs or colloquialisms are avoided in this type of diction. So, second one is the informal diction. Informal diction is the opposite of the previous diction type. The writing style in this diction is uh, yeah. So is this more kind of conversational? So it is informal, as its name says, and this diction is commonly used in creative writing. In this type of diction, authors make you feel the voice style used uh, reflects real life communication. Unlike formal diction, uh, incomplete sentences here are considered part of informal diction. It can be similar to how you talk with your friends. So, incomplete sentences are very much accepted. And here's a comparison between formal and informal diction through examples. Formal. Please tell me the reason you left the meeting early. So, informal. Why'd you left the meeting, bro? And here's a Yoda example. The reason you left the meeting, tell me. So the informal and formal styles are the main types of diction. There is uh, again the informal and the formal styles are the main types of diction. The rest of the types of diction that I will discuss after with you will usually bring both main types to the extremes. Okay, here's the next one, pedantic diction. In this diction, the writer is quite detailed and academic. So the writer specifically takes time to choose the perfect words to convey only one meaning. It lets, uh, yeah, thinking about it, I can think of Jordan Peterson. He explained on how he wrote his book, wherein he edited its sentences and words in a very much serious and focused way. So in literature, it is used by F. Scott Fitzgerald in his book The Great Gatsby. With pedantic diction, if assigned to the character, that character would speak in a very, very educated manner. For example, first, let's have a formal example. I respectfully disagree with you. Then, now let's say the pedantic example. Upon extensive examination, I discovered multiple errors in your argument that I will now expound on. Here's an informal example. That's crazy. So now, next is the colloquial diction. Colloquial diction is an informal diction. The phrases or the way the phrases or words are used were common during a certain region or time period. Have you heard the people in the movies use ain't and y'all for, and they are all colloquial expressions in rural areas in the US. This diction adds distinction and realism, and I compare it to the speaking style in different areas uh, in Region 7, despite language similarity. So, for example, if you are in Cebu or in Region 7, different people from different geographical areas speak Cebuano or Bisaya differently. For example, Boholanos have J's, and in some areas people use Z. It's a common joke how southern part dwellers of Cebu usually speak in a way that raises their voice. No disrespect on that way. And in other parts, Cebuanos also speak strong and hard as if they are angry, but they aren't angry. And some speak very mildly, as if they are speaking to children. So, next is the slang diction. Slang refers to very informal words and phrases that were born in specific contexts and groups, such as by generation, by profession, and more. Okay, and here are some Filipino slang examples. Ludi, it came from idol. Sometimes I heard or read in Facebook say Ludi cakes. Then astig from tigas. Ouchu from outs or when you are hurt or offended. Werpa from power. Yusi from cigarette taken from cigarillo. Okay. Kiri from carry, which implies that she or he can carry or handle the situation. Havi and walay, like or unlike or meron or wala. Charot. I'm just kidding. So those are some of the Filipino slangs. So here are some modern slangs all over the world. Uh, ghosting, woke, safety, vibe check, goat or greatest of all time, fam, and glow up. In my generation, I'm a millennial, I guess. Here are some of the slangs, and some of them are still used now. It was when text messaging was quite prevalent, and there were mostly keypad phones. So, where na you? Uh, sorry, late reply on OTW on the way na mi. OMW on the way pod. So, here na mi. And GBU, God bless you. Beshi, Kia for Kuya. Yeah. So here are some slangs or old slangs in older generations outside our country, Philippines. So Nako sandwich. They used this in the 40s to describe a ready fist for a fight. Gigulmag. It's a term they describe someone who can't stop smiling. Gasper. It's another word for cigarette. Cigarette is unhealthy. So handcuff, it's another way to say engagement ring, and it also implies that the one who said it is not yet ready for marriage. Church bells, it's a slang to describe overly talkative person. They compare the person to the loud 19th century churches. So let's get back on the subject. The next type of diction is an abstract diction. So in abstract diction, it is when the writer's words express an intangible subject such as an idea or emotion. There's an observable lack of physical descriptions and specificity in abstract diction because the abstract Concept isn't something the readers can experience through the five senses. When using abstract diction, despite it being intangible, it will usually be relatable because it's a shared experience or it is part of being human. Uh, Here's an example. What you said doesn't feel right. Also, despite being intangible, imagery can still be used in abstract diction. Here's an example of Francis Bacon describing his early life. When I think of my childhood, I see something very heavy, very cold, like a block of ice. So he was describing an emotional state he felt. Next is concrete diction. It is the use of words using their literal meanings and often refers to things that appeal to the senses. In this diction, the meaning of words is not open for interpretation because of the specificity and detailed phrasing. For example, I ate an avocado. The plate is colored white and blue. The dress is white and gold. Next is poetic diction. It uses lyrical words. From its literal meaning, it's poetic. And poems are related to music. Thus, with poetic diction, when you read a combination of words, it will be harmonious. It will have a beat or rhyme. It usually uses descriptive language and imagery. And this poetic diction is mostly used in songwriting and poetry. So I don't have to give you a song example for this diction because it's fairly noticeable. So let me share you an example from a novel called The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. Words are pale shadows of forgotten names. As names of power, words of power. Words can light fires in the minds of men. Words can wring tears from the hardest hearts. So here's another example from the same book. When the heart fart turns blue, what to do? What to do? Run outside, run and hide. When his eyes are black as crow, where to go? Where to go? Near and far, here they are. See a man without a face, move like ghosts from place to place. What's their plan? What's their plan? Chandrian, Chandrian.